YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Benji, and we back with the crew. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. Yo. Anyways, conversations regarding dating are always interesting and sometimes can be a little hurtful, a little painstakingly ridiculous to kind of go through. But at the end of the day, people's perceptions, narratives, past experiences, and more help judge who they're going to go after as a suitable partner. A lot of the conversation we see can be telling, at the very least, and within the black community, there's always conversation surrounding people, quote unquote, dating outside of their race. So I want to check this video out here.
A black woman and a white man combination has one of the lowest divorce.
Black wife and white husband marriages have the lowest rates of divorce.
I'm not saying that all the women are perfect, but 80% of the problems are men. I could give the women 20.
What is it? Two white people, one black man and one white woman are 200% more likely to divorce. I guess I don't know who's yellow. I don't know if this is Asian or what. I don't know what that is. But a white man and black woman are 44% less likely. And then likely compared to what?
And then I told my sisters, keep your options open. A lot of our sisters are doing well with white brothers.
I smell pussy!
The Wiley article reported these findings from a 2002 National Survey of Family Growth. 2002, you guys. And I also seen black women using that against black men as a dig. You guys don't get that option. So you telling black men that we're the most divorced amongst all men, the nerve of you.
The statistics that black women and white men marriages are less likely to get divorced is severely outdated. The sample size is based off a less than 0.3% of white men married to black women in 2002. Black women have the highest divorce rate amongst all race and gender categories. Black men have the highest divorce rates amongst all men and second to black women overall. Black women are the only group to have a higher divorce rate than marriage rate. Black African Americans have the highest divorce rates and lowest marriage rates. Black men are married at a higher rate than black women. 1 out of 5 married black men are married to a non-black woman.
We're walking down the street and we see a black man holding hands with a white woman. We have a very particular experience.
Yes.
But when we be walking down the street, we might see a black woman with a white man. We might not have that same energy. And where is that setting?
We know that it's true, okay? We seen the whole black wife effect and all this foolery.
Sometimes the white boys be pulling some bad. I'm talking about. I'll be like, hey.
See, so they happy they saying that sometimes the white dudes be pulling the bad women. Lord.
Dude.
My
And
boy.
once the black wife effect take over, it'd be like, okay, they match.
Hey,
Honestly, I think a lot of
The
black
black
women,
white
and I'll
women.
speak for myself, and I'm working through not feeling like this. If I'm walking down the street and I see a black man with a white woman, there's a weakness in him. Something in him is weak.
I want to preface this by saying, 'cause I don't think we have an opportunity to say it as much. Love is love.
Love is love.
And
man.
So they gonna say all that.
as was
Amen.
evidenced in our BEG draft, we just fell in love and she just happened to be white.
What about the guy that gets called weak though?
Sometimes this happens,
no, that's real.
but sometimes it don't. And I just want to contextualize her statement
Yes.
by saying that. Because
And I appreciate you doing that because I believe the
What contextualization did that do? Sometimes people are in love, but sometimes they're not in love. What? How did that contextualize what she just said? If she sees black men next to a white woman, he's weak. Something in him is weak. Hey, love is love. Sometimes people love who they love, and sometimes people don't. What did you get? What?
So they're still operating under the impression that there's far more black men married to white women. Oh, Lord.
On the other
Yeah.
side, I think when I see a black woman with a white man, despite all the historical context that we know that sits behind that, I think, oh, she must have got she's tired. Like she must have got so fed up that she's getting to rest now.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. On one end, he's weak. On the other end, well, forget all the history and historical context and what may have led up to this point. She's just tired. That's the only thing that we need to worry about. Very likely, she gave black brothers a chance, and hey, they weren't fitting the bill. She got them out of there, and she found herself a good white man. Like us as a community, I think we just got to be able to understand the hypocrisy in a lot of statements that we're talking about. Yeah, bro.
White men socialize themselves to not see the world completely. because they're white and they're male, and so therefore they have the power dynamic.
What do y'all be talking about when you say this power dynamic thing? What are you referencing? Like, what are you actually tangibly referencing?
Well, black women bring that awareness that white men don't have.
A white man and a black woman have a higher success rate when it comes to marriage.
Majority of the problems we're having are men. And then I told my sisters, keep your options open.
People found this stat from Wikipedia. The 10th year of marriage, whereas black wife, white husband marriages are 44% less likely to end in divorce than white wife, white husband couples over the same period. According to Census Bureau data, black wife, white husband marriages have the lowest rates of divorce in comparison to white wife, white husband. But again, are we like looking at just total numbers or like percentage of population? Like, what are we talking about?
Family growth. 2002, you guys. So black women are quoted in an article that was published 23 years ago. Yes, but there are more recent reports. Black women were the only group that had a higher divorce rate than marriage rate, with nearly 31 divorces per 1,000 married women aged 15 and older, and only 17.3 marriages per 1,000 unmarried women.
Hey man, shout out to the media man for putting together this content.
This was updated in 2024. African American women had the highest divorce rates, while Asian women have the lowest. There is a consistent trend regarding marriage and divorce rates among women across the U.S. For example, black women usually display the lowest marriage probability and the highest divorce rates. Other races of women, sociologists suggest that it may be because of lower income and job prospects. The bottom line is this: the statistic that black women and white men marriages are less likely to get divorced is severely outdated, and the sample size is based off less than 0.3% of the white men married to black women in 2002.
Oh my goodness, this dude's bringing up some crazy stuff. It says the interracial marriage statistics, we are the most race loyal, and that's why we don't marry white men at a higher rate. But this is obviously under the assumption that there are multiple races vying for these prospects. There isn't. Again, I'm not a big fan of the gender wars. I think that at the end of the day, you should try to find somebody who makes you happy and is really after what you're after in regards to like a long-term relationship and partnership. I do think that it's, again, the problem is our community. We are the ones that continue to perpetuate terrible narratives and information about our own race. We continue to push these stereotypes about us. Why is that? Why did 3 black people get on the platform and talk about the differences amongst black women and black men, and why black women should be championed for dating outside of their race, while saying, yo, black men, y'all doing a terrible job for dating outside of your race? I don't understand it. These are conversations that happen within our community, and we're the ones that are pushing out the bad information. We're the ones talking about our black women are not suitable for marriage. We're the ones talking about these black men are not suitable for marriage.
So a big thank you once again to Deontay, Kyle, and Sheree Nicole for bringing your honesty, insight, and lived experience to the table today. These are the kinds of conversations that push us forward, even when they get uncomfortable. The kinds of conversations that push us forward, even when they get uncomfortable.
No matter what is black women. So it's like I said, I was hyper aware of this young though, because I'm light skinned, both my sisters brown skin, dark skin. So I would just see how people would approach us like, oh my God, you got such nice hair. And then look at my sister and be like, and I'm like, hold on, cuz, like, wow. What's up? So I always been hyper aware because of the differences between me and my sisters in appearance. But I also never liked that well, I never liked that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But because it's like, they look like my mama. So like, I don't understand what the problem is. Too loud, you two to do. And then when you compare it to other women, it just seemed like they were a little bit more contained and controlled. But like I said, when you start talking about Spanish women, then that attitude is sexy. Oh, yo, I had a Spanish girl. She was finna stab me. It was hot. Like, woo, woo, woo. That's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow.
Right?
We don't have a lot to choose from. And then we talk about preference, right? So if I'm a black woman who desires to date a man who has a certain faith that he practices that's in line with mine, that makes a certain amount of money.
Now you'll go there.
That has maybe a certain limit with how many children he already has.
Now you're asking for too much.
That may have never been married before, and I'm older.
Yeah.
So we down under the floor.
The strangest things about these conversations is they're not really like anything that's extremely unique to one group or one race. Everyone is having struggles trying to find possible dating suitors. This has happened since the beginning of time. So I would argue that social media has made things harder. The illusion of options has made things more difficult. But people, since the beginning of time, have been struggling or yearning for an opportunity to find a possible suitor. A lot of dudes didn't get to make it. A lot of women didn't get to make it. In early history, a lot of women who had gotten to a certain age or position in life without a husband were outcast in society. And as a man, if you weren't able to put yourself in a position to be a possible suitor for multiple women, the world would look at you a certain manner. Because typically, you weren't anyone who was quote unquote successful. You didn't have opportunities available to you. You weren't the strongest guy, the biggest guy, the toughest guy, the roughest guy. And you didn't have women clamoring after you. That was an easy sign in order to determine what your sexual marketplace value was at that time. So these conversations aren't necessarily anything that's indicative to one group. Just because you wanted a guy with a smaller percentage of a small percentage of people does not mean that it's something that's only exclusive to black women. Why they're finding so many difficulties in the dating marketplace. If you look within the culture, there's a lot of things that we're glorifying and holding to a higher pedestal than anything else. Again, this only ties back to the things that we putting at the front of the pedestal. The things that we're putting at the front of people's screens. There's an importance on these things because we as a community deem them to be so. Whether or not the white women do this, or whether or not the Latino women do this, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, does it really matter? Because if in our community we're doing X, Y, and Z, and we don't see any problem with that, but that's contributing to how people look at one another and how people are searching for partners, you got to be able to point it out.
Just basic things, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's not high over the top. The bar just being held.
That's what I'm saying. So, but again, if you're established, if you're high achieving, and that would go for a man. Like depending, if you may have a standard where, hey, I want to date a woman who has a passion, it's something she's really passionate about, and she's career driven. She can still be a great mom, but she has something for herself. You wouldn't date a woman that necessarily doesn't have anything going for herself.
That's real.
So when
But again, that in itself would still allow you to cast your net to a farther or a vaster group of people than you saying, I need a man who is XXXX, and this is just basic things. If you say, hey, just want a woman who has something that she's driven about. Again, this has been something I would still argue is since the beginning of time, men were less stringent about the things they were looking for in women because it was inherently difficult for you to get a woman's attraction in order for you to get a woman. Again, if we continue to have the gender conversations, gender war about dating is a long, crazy, and often subjective topic to get into. But again, this is a platform where 3 black people are talking about the importance of dating within the community while also stating that black people should date out of the community because they obviously exhausted all efforts within the community. It doesn't even make any sense. If you're saying that the things you're seeing is the problem within the community and people dating outside of it, but in order for you to get happy, you need to date outside the community. Hell, if I see a black woman and she dated outside the community, all I can say is she tried. Good job. Salute to her.
And like a case like Serena Williams. Serena Williams, like the only thing I ever really heard black men compliment her about was her ass. You feel me? Everything else is like she manly, she this and that. But she go get with the white dude. Now the white dude look crazy. He look crazy. You know what I'm saying? But he is a billionaire.
you
like,
saw the swimming trunk picture, didn't you?
I did. Shot a little translucent.
I
You hear
didn't
me?
see the swimming trunk picture.
He look translucent. It's crazy.
Oh, don't say that.
It's a stark contrast.
Okay.
What he like invested in this or something? No. I'm just playing. But nah, I'm just saying like, but you can't go. But then it's like, well, he do got $1 billion, and me and.
What the heck are we talking about?
Trying to get an answer out of y'all that I haven't gotten yet.
Okay, come on.
When we're walking down the street and we see a black man holding hands with a white woman, we have a very particular experience.
Yes.
But when we be walking down the street, we might see a black woman with a white man. We might not have that same energy. And where is that setting?
I ain't gonna hold you. Sometimes the white boys be pulling some bad. I'm talking about bad. I be like, hey.
Women, and I'll speak for myself, and I'm working through not feeling like this. If I'm walking down the street and I see a black man with a white woman, there's a weakness in him.
Ooh.
Something in him is weak.
I want to preface this by saying, 'cause I don't think we have an opportunity to say it as much. Love is love.
I see a black woman with a white man, despite all the historical context that we know that sits behind that. I think, oh, she must have got she's tired. Like she must have got so fed up that she's getting to rest now. And again, why would that be the interpretation?
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned earlier, for me, I don't want to date outside my race.
Yeah.
But it may be my only option at a certain point, so I have to be open to the only.
Cooked. Let's check out the comments. Love it for Serena, hate it for Kobe. Why do women clamor for athletes instead of academics and blue-collar guys? Because they don't exist. They only feel like these are the men that intrinsically build value because they're typically on the in front of the limelight. A lot of people don't see value in these people who are successful in their own rights. They're just not in front of the masses. So they don't count, apparently. I love these conversations always ignore the well-to-do black man, the lame black man, cornball black man, nerd black man. Y'all ignore these in grade, middle school, shame when they're in high school, invisible in college, and then y'all silence them when they are adults and get with Becky. 20 minutes into this, the hostess says she brought this conversation together because she was tired of the gender war. But in this video, both her and the guests use every false statistic and degrading talking point about black men. They did not bridge the gap between black men and women. They perpetuated already existing bias and beliefs. As much as they all said they weren't in favor of interracial dating, they made it sound like that was the most viable option for black men and women instead of pursuing one another. Yep. Yep. Panel needs a married woman. We can't be listening to relationship losers. All we get, yeah. One of the women expressed she was about 40 years old. Nothing wrong with that. But again, if you're like actively pursuing relationships and you have been actively pursuing relationships for all your life, unfortunately, people are going to call you a loser. If, you know what I mean, I'm shooting 100 shots at a basketball hoop and I'm only making 2, people can say, brother, you just can't shoot. Horrible conversation. This dude served almost no purpose in this exchange. He didn't challenge anything in order for this conversation to go any further. Love this episode. So basically, if they see a black woman with a non-black man, they sympathize with the hypothetical struggle that woman may have gone through. But if they see a black man with a non-black woman, they dismiss him as they sell out and go about their business. Who researched this topic, specifically black women being the most educated, high earning? This is trash, pointless conversation. If you put dark, tall, and handsome on a pedestal, be ready for the competition that comes along with, and don't be a sore loser against the winners. Tired of these low vibrational and one-sided topics, I went to a HBCU, and what I saw and experienced was black women chasing behind the few athletes on campus, frat guys and dope dealers who were either students themselves or local dope boys who lived off campus. These women would rather share these few types of men than be your girlfriend. The brothers like myself who were going to class and in the library studying, trying to graduate, didn't get much play like that. So mixing with that black women are the most educated and running circles around black men nonsense because I've never known black women as a collective to be attracted to a brother's intellect and education. I mean, we can continue to look at these dudes that are in trouble with having baby mama drama. A lot of these dudes are athletes. We see that typically amongst the men that are athletes and entertainers. The actors, rappers, musicians, and athletes are typically the guys that get these opportunities. So no matter what, we see people like Nick Cannon running around and proud that he's got like 10 or 12 kids. And there's going to be another woman lining up to have his next kid. Again, problems with the community that we're not willing to address, but instead, we're just going to act as if the one black guy that does date the white women out of how many dudes is the problem. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. I like to have these type of discussions, and it's interesting to see a lot of people's takes and perspectives. On to the next one.